What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to another fantastic and truly amazing episode of the Viall Files. This is your Ask Nick episode. That is my producer, Chrissy, laughing. We also have Amanda and Allie with us today. We have a great episode, and once again, can't thank our people who call in, share their stories, and entertain us with their questions and issues, and we can't thank them enough. Please send in your questions and your submissions. Email us at asknick@castmedia.com. You can certainly be anonymous if you so choose. Sometimes we prefer that, just for everyone's mental health. Don't forget that we have some amazing, fun, lovable, and cozy merch at viallfiles.com. Don't forget to rate us with 5 stars and subscribe. Tell your friends. Always means a lot, especially our Ask Nick callers. Share our podcast on their social. We certainly try to reshare that when you do, so thank you so much.
Yeah, Nick is blowing up.
TikTok's bringing them to the podcast. We don't want to reverse it. It's the other way around. We're going to keep the traffic going one way.
Yeah, but you are blowing up on that app, sir.
Thank you, TikTok, for recognizing the genius that I am. With all the humility.
He's also humble. Yeah.
We have a great episode for you on Wednesday. The delightful, wonderful Molly Sims is with us. Molly is a friend, and I've gotten to know her, and she's so cool and honest, and I love her directness. And we have a great conversation about her kind of being successful in the Hollywood space, dating. She's a mom now, and so parenting soccer moms out there. And we just have a great conversation, talk about our childhoods and the impact that we've learned from our parents, things that we felt like they got right or maybe got wrong, and how do we apply that to our kids. I don't have any kids, but I always think about what I would do with kids. So check that out. And if nothing else, let's get to our callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good. How can I help?
I'm Danny. I'm 26. I'm from Nashville, and I was just talking to this guy for a couple of weeks. I'm 26 and he's 34.
Okay.
And there's somewhat of an age difference, but we met on an app, but we have mutual friends. So we went out a few weeks ago. We've been talking for a month or so, and we ended up hooking up that night after our date, and everything went perfect. And then he was like, I'm opening up my own business pretty much, that he's kind of too tied with everything, and that he was just basically just looking for not a relationship. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. He was like, I still want to get to know you on that kind of level, and still want to keep on hanging out.
What is that kind of level? What does that mean?
I think just like hanging out, that's what the confusing part was whenever I actually took a trip a week ago to just kind of clear my head and just get away from the city for a few days, and he reached out and was like, my mom's in town and I'd like to see you next week or something. So that was the confusing part.
What'd you say?
I said, yeah, I would love to, because I do want to get to know him, but I'm also kind of scared because he has mentioned that he doesn't want to commit to not hooking up with other people either.
Okay, so what are you gonna do?
That's a good question. I still want to hang out with them, but I don't want to be pressured too, because I feel that's where he's coming from, is I'll ask him to hang out, because I'm pretty upfront whenever I like somebody. I don't care to ask to hang out with them. I will reach out and be like, hey, do you want to hang out or something? But I think he thought that was being too pushy and thinking that I wanted a committed relationship.
Do you think wanting to be in a committed relationship is being pushy?
Oh, I think it's coming off to him as that way.
You're assuming?
Yes.
Even if it was, does that, even if he assumed, if he even accuses you of being pushy, do you think that means you're pushy?
I don't think so, because I've just kind of stated that I wanted to hang out with him, but coming from his sense, it's not I've texted him every single day. I'll wait a few days and be like, hey, what's up, or just ask how his day's going. So
it seems like you're spending a lot of time thinking about how he's interpreting everything, and
kind of overthinking that. But I know that he is constantly probably always busy too, so I don't want to overwhelm him, because I would eventually like a relationship with him if that's possible, but I don't want him to think I'm pushing, though, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's possible or not, but it definitely won't be possible if you follow the path that you're on. I mean, I don't know how much you've listened to this podcast and advice that I give, and a lot of the advice I'm going to give you is probably similar to, some of the other stuff I've said before. But, right now, like you've had sex with him?
Yeah, we've hung out like a few times and like hooked up twice.
Yeah, so whether it's, we've had a lot of discussions about the emotional connection that women tend to immediately feel via sex more than men, right? And so because you hooked up right away, and that's totally fine, you might feel a little bit more vulnerable or connected to him because of the sex than he feels connected with you because of the sex. Just talking about the sex part. What are the things that you do like so far about him? Let's figure out let's figure out if you should really want to date this guy. Like, what do you like about him?
I think I like that he just like has all of his stuff together, and that's like something that attracts me. And he's pretty, yeah, he does. Well, I guess like if he does,
doesn't, I mean, so far I didn't.
He is working on it, I guess, but like he's very like accomplished. Yeah, true. But he is accomplished like in like our industry, which is kind of like.
What's your industry?
Music.
Okay.
So
is he a musician?
He's not. He was a photographer before. So.
And what is he now?
I think he's a realtor.
Oh, he's in real estate.
He's like kind of getting his foot in that door. He's like really funny. Like also like I'm really attracted towards him, and I feel like that doesn't like happen with me a lot though too either. As crazy as it sounds.
Sure, but so he's charismatic. He's funny. He's good looking. And that's all nice, but it sounds like I guess what I'm saying is, you hooked up with him. You probably feel this connection with him. He's good looking. He's funny. He's charismatic. That's all great, but we don't really know how he is in a relationship and how he deals with problems, how he deals with his anger, how he communicates, right?
Yeah.
Whether he is able to commit. These are all like actual things. In terms of like wanting to be in a relationship. It's cool that like the fact that you want to get to know him more is totally reasonable, right? Because you like some of these kind of high level things that you hope that you'll like the rest of it. The path that you're on is, again, setting this expectation that you are going to accept less than what he wants. Like you need to set boundaries early on. Right? You can't be completely operating on his pace, right? Like you guys aren't dating, you hooked up a couple times, you're both consenting adults, that's fine. He's been upfront with you about what he doesn't want. So good for him actually, right? Like other guys might, not
leading on
pretend they have feelings, and I have no problem with what he's doing. At this point, you just have to be careful about what you're doing. And what you need to make sure if you're going to continue to hang out with him is to establish certain boundaries for yourself and for him. And you need to figure out what you want to get out of this and be clear about that to him, whatever that is, right? So like, what are you willing to do and what are you willing not to do when you involve him in your life? And you should have a little bit of both, and you should be able to articulate that to him. So like, what do you want to get to know him, right?
Yeah. So like, I think it's just been because we've only hung out for like a month or so, but we did have mutual friends together, but they weren't like our close friends. They were more his friends than mine. So I do like want to get to know him and just like keep on hanging out with him. But also like being said, I don't know like how to kind of like ask, I guess, if he'll ask. Cause like whenever I left him alone for like a week, then he was like, hey, like let's hang out. Because I don't want to bother him while he's at work or if he's like with his parents or something.
Yeah, I think you need to stop worrying about bothering him.
Yeah.
If he, like, this is a guy that you've had sex with that you like and hope likes you. So if you're worried so much about bothering someone, that's, if you really think that you could be bothering him, then, your answer is, that's your answer. It's like, he doesn't like you, and that would be okay if he didn't like you. So like this guy is going to be attracted to a woman who is unafraid that she's bothering him. This guy is going, you know what I'm saying? You have to become this person that I'm certain he's looking for, and it's not going to be the girl or woman who's just like I'm here whenever you want to be here, and I don't want to bother you. Sorry, stop. Like, never apologize to this guy for anything other than like actually doing some shit. Like, if you punch him in the face, say you're sorry. If you lie, cheat, or steal, apologize. Like, if you wonder if you're inconveniencing him, don't apologize for things that you're not even sure if you did, or just in case. Like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm sorry I reached out again. Like, maybe he wanted you to. You should assume he wants to hear from you. What a crazy world we live in, and sometimes the world can get us down and affect our mental health, and we deal with all sorts of stress and have anxiety and mental health issues. I know I deal with that. If we're going to focus on our overall wellness, whether it's our diet, exercise, we should focus on our mental health as well, because that is a part of our overall health, and BetterHelp is helping us with that. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with a licensed professional therapist, so you don't have to worry about like traveling to your therapist, and it's always a challenge trying to find like who's the right person I should talk to. It's a very vulnerable thing to do, and so BetterHelp tries to make that process as easy as possible for you. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily. Visit betterhelp.com/Viall Files. That's VIALLFILES. That's BetterHelp, HELP, and join over the 1 million people that have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And if you don't like the person they assign to you, you can always switch. It's really simple. You go on their website, you take a quick quiz, and they assess your needs, align you with a healthcare or mental health professional. And again, the whole focus is about making this experience easy and beneficial for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Viall Files listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Viall Files, VIALLFILES. The eighth wonder of the world, Brook Linen. That's right. Their sheets, towels, hand towels, their loungewear, amazing. They also have things like candles and masks that you sleep on. It's all just soft on your body. You don't have to take my word for it. 75,000 5-star reviews and counting. It's high quality without the high, crazy prices. And their style is wonderful. You'll always get compliments. I know I do. You spend all this time sleeping. Why not do it comfortably with Brook Linen? So give yourself the comfort refresh you deserve and get it for less at Brook Linen. Go to brooklinen.com and use promo code VIALL to get $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's BROOKLINEN.com and enter promo code VIALL for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's brooklinen.com, promo code VIALL. Buttery soft sheets. Oh, plush absorbable towels, cozy robes, comfy loungewear. They have it all, and it's all just truly amazing.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought at the beginning. Like, I don't have a problem at the beginning. And then once he like said that, like, he's like, I'm really not looking for a relationship now. That's when I kind of backed off. Yeah.
And you need to figure out, back to what I said before.
Yeah. You
need to start setting some boundaries. If for no other reason, then he can't feel like he's calling all the shots. He should not be so confident that he can disappear for a week or 2 weeks and call you up and have you be like, sure, I'm available to hang out. It cannot be all on his terms. Unfortunately, if you want to keep pursuing this relationship, despite you really being excited about this guy and hoping to spend more time with him, it's going to involve some game playing on your part, and that's where it can get messy, right? Like, what I think you should do is simply to say, I am looking for a relationship. I want to, you seem like, you're, and you say the facts, right? And the facts are, this is what I like about you. You're charming, you're good looking, we have great sex or whatever. But there's a lot I don't know about you, maybe you're an asshole. Maybe you aren't like established, you're in your mid 30s and you're still figuring out life, which is totally fine, by the way, but it'll annoy him, And so he is not worried about you liking him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he feels like he has all the confidence. And the truth is, he should wonder if he wants you to like him, which most people want people to like us. He has no reason to be this confident about your interest and feelings towards him. Because despite him being charming, good looking, and maybe good in bed, there's so much you don't know about him. He has annoying bad habits. He has shortcomings. He has insecurities. We don't know what they are, but I guarantee you he has them. And so
I feel like that's what I kind of need to learn about him too. Like, I don't know if it's just taking more time to like.
Yeah. So imagine you sitting down with him really calmly and saying again what you want. I want to get to know you. This is what I like. But the truth is, the reason why I want to get to know you is because there's so much I don't know about you. I want to know what you're insecure about. I want to know, what are your bad habits. I want to figure out whether you really have it figured out or you're someone who's worth my time. But if you don't, I just want to make it clear I'm looking for a relationship. So often we are so afraid to say what we want because we're afraid of the other person disappointing us. But it's the very thing that's going to attract those people to you. Because this guy is he's going to be attracted to a woman who is unapologetic about her interest in him, is unapologetic about she being too busy for his bullshit, whatever that bullshit might be. And that bullshit could be disappearing for a week and reaching out and saying, do I want to see a movie? Which technically he's not really doing anything wrong, but you are still operating on his schedule. He has, he shouldn't be this confident in your interest in him. And it sounds like he's pretty confident. It sounds like he's not worried about you being like, yeah, I'm down to hang out.
Yeah, I feel like that's like something that like also attracts me to him, which I feel like anybody, like his confidence too is just like really high.
Yeah.
And like that's like how I kind of matched it like our first like few dates. And then like once he like that's the reason pretty much after he said that.
Yeah, and it's great that he's confident, right? So you just got to match his confidence, right? Also, you have to point out, don't like nag him, as they say, and don't point out things that aren't true, right? But just acknowledge the truth is that like he has insecurities and shortcomings and bad habits. And you need to point out that you want to figure out what those are because you know they exist. But I think he needs to also be aware of the boundaries that you set. And maybe that is just by being too busy the next time he reaches out. And like, you should honestly, if we're going to play a game here, you should not be available for the next at least 2, probably 3 times. And then if he's just, and you're just like, oh no, I'm sorry. I got something going on. I have plans. Just say, be real vague and say you have plans.
I have plans. This sounds like a great idea.
Don't say, you don't have to say you have a date to say you have plans. And if he digs for more, you can tell him what those plans are. Maybe, even if you don't have plans, just have plans.
Make up some plans.
I'm hanging out with a friend. I'm going to a movie.
Yeah.
I got a date. And when he pries for more information, oh my God, it would be so, like, you'll drive him nuts when you're like, hey, it's totally cool. I know, like, you're not looking for a relationship, but like, I don't feel like I need to answer your question. And don't say it like you're mad or snotty. Just be so like cool about it. Be like, I just don't like, we're not dating. So like, and I don't even know if we're friends. Like, we're cool and we're totally hanging out, but like, I just have plans.
Yeah, that makes sense to just like kind of.
And do it over text too sometimes because it's like easier to play it chill. Don't respond right away. Things like that. But listen, another thing is like set a timeline for this. Like not 6 months or 12 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, the truth is there's going to be no difference between 6 months from now or 12 months from now, other than him just deciding you are worth it to give up the freedom to have sex with other people. He considers you an option right now. And that's okay to a certain extent, right? He doesn't really know you. He's already had sex with you, so there's a little bit of like the mystery's not there, and that's totally fine, no judgment. But you can definitely get him. You can definitely get that mystery back by confusing him and being not as predictable. Because right now you're very predictable to him.
Yeah, I feel that. Maybe just like kind of wait like another month or 2 and just kind of see where it is, I guess, like after like the whole thing.
Yes, you need to be 2 months tops. And within those 2 months, you should have put yourself out there. You should have said, as you hang out with them casually, and say no a lot. Like, stop having sex with them for sure. Be like, we had sex and it's cool, but like, I'm not looking for a friends with benefits. Like, no, like, I'm glad we had sex. It was awesome. Congratulations. You're good in bed. But I don't need a fuck buddy. But we can go to the movies and have dinner. I'd love someone to have a nice conversation and a meal of food with. And when you keep saying it so chill about the things that you want and the things that you don't want, it's going to drive him. He's going to fucking love that. Stop apologizing. Stop saying I'm sorry. Stop wondering if he likes you. Stop wondering if he's annoyed by you. Stop wondering if you're bothering him. All those internal thoughts will push him away and make him feel like you're just not up to the challenge of his confidence.
That makes sense. I feel like it's a good idea to do, though.
Yeah. And also just tell yourself, the truth is that charming, good looking, confident doesn't mean great boyfriend, doesn't mean that you're going to fall in love with him, doesn't mean there's not other people out there. Just because he's the first charming, good looking guy you've ran into in the past year or two, so what, right? And sometimes charming, good looking, confident is, overrated to a certain extent.
Yeah, I get that.
Have fun with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
challenge yourself to be like, if you pull this off, whether you end up dating him or not, right? You're going to feel real good about yourself. Like, if you play the same game that he's playing with you, you're going to feel real good about yourself.
Whenever he reached out the last time, I was like, I thought we weren't even talking. I was like, are you sure that it was you? Because I was like, I couldn't believe that he reached out after a week. And I guess because I wasn't there. Yeah.
And don't ask questions. Stop asking him questions. Are you sure about this? What do you mean by that? Only say what you want, and only say what you're doing. Stop asking him questions. If you want to define a situation, don't ask him what he thinks. Say what you want.
Yeah.
This guy, every time you ask him a question, it makes him feel more empowered.
More in charge.
Yes, more in charge. So you stop asking him questions and you stop, sure, I'm available, or no, I'm not available. Make him start asking questions. Don't offer information he doesn't ask, right? Are you free tonight? No, I'm sorry, I'm not. Make him ask, what do you have going on? Oh, I have plans with a friend. What friend? Then he starts asking too many questions. Just be like, don't worry about it. These sound like boyfriend questions, and it's totally cool if we're not. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
No more questions for this guy.
No, only statements.
Stop wondering how he feels about you. We know how he feels about you. He thinks you're nice. He thinks you're good enough to hang out when he's free. And he's not, and it's nothing against you. He's just like, you're kind of just every girl in his life right now. An option.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Best of luck. Let us know. I'm really curious.
I will. We'll see in the next 2 months. I'll reply.
And if nothing changes in 2 months, it's not going to change.
Yeah, that's the only thing with it's a 6 to 12 month line. I'm like, it's been a month now, so I'm like, who knows?
You got 1 more month of this, and you got to cut it off.
Got it.
And I've said this before. The only way you should then keep hanging out with him if he does a 180 and begs to be your boyfriend. And maybe he will if you pull this off.
I hope I do.
But if he goes away, let him go.
Yeah.
He's not worth it. He will fuck you up. This could fuck you up for a couple of years. Just breadcrumbing you, just enough.
Yeah.
He has too much power, this guy right now.
I feel it.
All right. Well, best of luck.
Thanks again.
All right. Take care. Last minute birthday gift ideas problem solved. Get the most intimate, personal happy birthday wishes or pep talk from your favorite public figure. I'm talking Snoop Dogg, Floyd Mayweather, Chris Tucker, David Hasselhoff, Lindsay Lohan, and yours truly can wish you a happy birthday or give you a boost. Just maybe make your friends smile. Your favorite public figures, celebrities, athletes, you name it, are on Cameo and giving your friends the best graduation celebration or wedding congratulations, Father's Day pep talk of all time. People use Cameo for all kinds of things, shout-outs, roast, whatever. Go to Cameo.com and request a personal video, and whichever star you choose, make sure you choose me. They can send you back a personalized video, and you can wow the ones you love. Just don't buy a gift, make a gift with Cameo. Go to Cameo.com. Hey, let's calm those kitties down. Kids, I don't know. They're all kind of, we love them, but they're annoying at the same time. And meditation made easy for you and your children. Headspace is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So whatever the situation, Headspace really can help you feel better. Overwhelmed? Headspace has a 3-minute SOS meditation for you. Need help falling asleep? Headspace has that as well to help you out. I'll tell you what, I've been really focusing on meditation. It's really helped me, and Headspace is helping me get there. Over 600,000 5-star reviews, over 60 million downloads. If you can't trust that, what can you trust? Headspace makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/VIALL. That's headspace.com for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditation for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/VIALL today. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm Brittany. I currently live in Portland, Oregon. Moved over here from Indiana about 4 years ago.
Great.
Yeah.
How can I help?
Yeah, so I recently, about a month ago, went through probably my hardest breakup. We were together almost 2 years. I had met him online through a dating app here in Portland. And I had gone through a period before that of being single after a previous breakup and really searching hard for who I am and what I want in a partner. And I really, thought a lot about my non-negotiables and what's important to me in a relationship. And for the first time, I was like, wow, this guy is everything that I've been looking for. And there was just, that chemistry and a lot of passion and excitement for the relationship for the first year. And we talked about a lot of hard conversations about what we want in life. And I was the happiest that I'd really ever been, And then, the last few months of the relationship, things started to come out, I guess, after you kind of get past that period of everyone sort of putting on a good front or something. Mm-hmm. So I started noticing, females a lot on his social media and messages coming through. And so I would ask him about it and say, hey, this kind of makes me uncomfortable. Who's this and who's that? And it was just constant friends and females just always coming up. And his initial response was that he felt like it was a me issue and that I was having insecurities and that I kind of needed to get over it because he felt like I was trying to change him and who he wanted to be friends with.
What were you trying to change?
I was just asking for boundaries and communication.
But he was saying, what in his mind, what were you trying to change?
He felt like I was trying to change who he could be friends with.
These are friends of his?
Yeah, he describes it as long-term friends from college or previous jobs and things like that, and that he likes to stay connected with everyone in his life. And he said if somebody pops up on his social media and he hasn't heard from them in a while, he'll message them, no matter who they are. But at first I kind of let it go because
did he? I guess I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, it just became a lot of arguments about it, and then he kind of started to pull away and shut off. And then, back in January, we went up to Seattle for a trip to see some friends, and we got into a huge blow-up fight. And all of a sudden, he's bringing up all of these things that he feels like I was doing wrong and that I wasn't doing for him. He kept saying that I don't support him and that I don't accept him for who he is and how he likes to dress or what he is interested in. He was very always caught up on the fact that I don't listen to punk rock music and I like different kinds of music and just stupid crap
the music,
like that.
Yeah, the music thing is stupid, but do you, just out of curiosity, do you feel like you support him? Did when he accused you of these things and you thought about it, was there any validity to it whatsoever? Did you feel like it was totally out of left field?
I was really surprised when it happened, but, I really try to be a non-judgmental person and be self-reflective and what could I improve on? So, I talked to some of his close friends that we had gotten close with, and, they suggested that to try to show some interest in the things that he cares about and really try to, be there for him for things that he likes to do.
Has he ever asked you to do any of these things with him?
It was hard through the pandemic being limited, because the things that he wanted to do.
I know. I guess what I'm saying is, like, for example, like I like watching football, right? It's something I do right now. Me personally, I don't care if my girlfriend watches it with me. It's nice if she wants to. But if it were something that I would want her to do, I would ask her, be like, you know what? I know that sounds weird, but like, it would really mean a lot to me if from time to time you'd watch a game with me. And like, I don't know. I just would like that to do these things that I enjoy with you. And if there's things that you enjoy, regardless of I'm like super into it or not, I want to reciprocate that and do that with you. Right? Did he ever do something like that before he accused you of not liking his music?
I don't think so. He was not a very good communicator, and when he would bring up the things that were an issue for him, I would ask, how could I do that for you? How could I do better? And he's just like, I don't know, I just feel judged by you, and I just don't feel like you care about what I like and things like that. So it would just kind of turn into arguments a lot.
And how long have you been dating this guy at this point?
Well, we have since broken up because I did find out that he cheated on me.
Okay.
And for me, there's no turning back. And I actually found out on my own that he cheated.
So, that's something. What did you learn from that? Like knowing that he was doing all this shit and saying you don't do this and being accusatory towards you, only to find out he was cheating on you. Like, what's your takeaway from that? Like,
I mean, that is kind of one of the questions that I was thinking about coming in for you of like, how could I have really not exactly seen it coming? What could I have been paying attention to better or do differently next time, I
mean, nothing really, maybe, right? Like you being cheated on is not something you're supposed to get better at. I'm like, understand, like, like I'm a professional, not good at cheated on person. There's no such thing. Anyone's capable of being cheated on, right? Like, unfortunately, people lie, manipulate, and sometimes, unfortunately, they can be very good at it. And because you are, the hard part about cheating and being in a relationship is that, like you want to trust your partner. Like when I was cheated on, way back when, and it was really, in the moment hard for me, but it ended up being a really positive moment. I remember all my friends were being like, dude, she's cheating, like everyone knows, man, like she's cheating on you. But I wanted to believe the person I was in a relationship with. That's the fucked up part, right? You're supposed to believe your partner, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend above all else, right? You want to believe. Not only do you not want to feel stupid, you want to give them the trust that you say you're going to give them in a relationship, and that sucks. Right. And that's what hurts so much, because it's such a violation of your trust that you were so willing to give, because really you kind of have to choose to trust, because otherwise you're just a cynical, jaded person if you are going to constantly question your next boyfriend or people in your life. Like that's the tough part about love. So the only you can do to remedy that is not beat yourself up when it does happen. Right. Like, you weren't going to see it come. Why should you see it coming? I mean, is that how you want to be in your next relationship? I'm guessing not, to like be looking at all the things and being wondering, like, could he be cheating here? I mean, anyone can cheat at any time. He could go to work. If he's really a shitty person, you could like hit on his coworker and sneak into the bathroom and get a quickie. That'd be crazy and be nuts, but it's like possible. Like, how do you see that coming?
Yeah, he actually cheated while he was at work. It was through social media.
What a guess.
And so I found out because he left his Apple Watch at home.
Yeah.
And when I confronted him about it, I asked him if he was planning on telling me. And he said, well, honestly, I was going to keep it to myself and live with the guilt or something.
Oh, what a martyr.
And so it's like, dude, how long have you been doing stuff like without telling me? That's what it feels like.
Well, the only thing that's a takeaway here is that, like, when you were telling this story and the question was, is he gaslighting you or does he have valid complaints, right? Because there are people in relationships who aren't supported by their partners, right? Who you can be in a relationship and your girlfriend or boyfriend's constantly just nagging at you, just pointing things out that they don't like and failing to compliment you, or like, oh, we have to do your thing again. That happens, right? And if it does happen, the partner would be like, hey, you know what? Honestly, you don't make me feel supported. That's a potentially valid complaint, right? But for you were just like, wait, what am I, huh? Like, I've never given you a reason to think that I wouldn't do something that you wanted me to do. You just never asked. I don't pick on you. I don't nag at you. I don't criticize you. So if you're dating someone and they start accusing you of things that you haven't done, and you are so willing to try to fix it, but they just keep accusing you of shit, that's a huge red flag, right? Because that is gaslighting, right?
That's exactly what's happened.
So that's what you can take away from this, right? And that's something that is very easy once you are aware of it to point out next time. So just assume you can trust your next person you date. Assume they won't cheat on you, even though you've been cheated on. But the moment they do that, your red flag should go way up, right? You should stand your ground and being like, I know I am not guilty of the things you're accusing me of. How can I know that you want me to do this? You've never asked, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the times that I watched motocross, supercross races with him was like every single week, and I was not a fan of that before. And
so stand your ground. You knew that you were willing to do that. So, like, in fact, that should give you relief that you like. Those are the signs, and they're very clear. Like, I remember when I was getting cheated on, she would like, come home at 4 a.m. after bar time was at 2. And I'd be like, I don't know. She's got friends, but like after a while, you're just like, that's kind of fucked up, like I'm not here to tell you, I'm not here to give you a curfew, but like every time you come home real fucking late, and it's just like, that seems to be a red flag, So for me, it was just, and you know what my next girlfriend didn't do? She wouldn't go out with her friends and come home at 5:30 in the morning. On a consistent basis. And if it happened one time, I wouldn't lose my shit over it because like once in a while we like to party, right?
Yeah, the interesting thing about him is we didn't have any of those really obvious signs like that. He was very good at fluffing me up and saying the right things.
Hold on. Yeah, I just spent like 2 minutes. I mean, there was an obvious, but you don't dismiss that because that's what you people, he was giving you very clear signs that something was up.
Yeah.
And his way of getting away with it was making you feel guilty, putting you on the fence, you were spending so much energy focusing on how you could do things better or what you were doing wrong. You weren't paying attention, which I'm sure were a bunch of other signs of him cheating, right?
Yeah.
And so and don't waste any energy going back and wondering what those signs were because they were small and who knows. And again, you don't want to be a cynic, but this was so obvious. It was something you spent so much energy on. As figuring out what you were doing wrong, even though deep down you knew you weren't doing it. In fact, you were doing the opposite. You were doing the very things he was accusing you of not doing. And you're not crazy, and you're sane, and you're willing to work on relationships. So if next time that happens, those flags go off, and you say, "Whoa, time out."
Yeah, and on my side of it, I kept asking for basic things from him, basic communication, basic just showing up and being present. And I couldn't even get the basics out of him.
So next time that happens, end the relationship. Next time you are doing this work, don't like find someone who will. Like, don't try to get him to do the things that he won't do. Like, these are basic things, like you said. These are like important things. This relationship's still pretty new, and you're being accused of things you're not doing. You are, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty crazy. And yet you were just like, oh no, like it's not a big deal. Like I'll get him to understand. Now I want to prove to him that I'm doing these things. And then you wanted credit for the things that you were doing, even though you were being accused of not. But like, know that it's nuts. Take a time out and say, that's not okay. And like,
it's like he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. That's what it felt like in the end.
Yeah.
Just by the fact that he was going to hide it and stay with me, and
but don't beat yourself up about all that shit. Like, again, it's very easy to judge ourselves when we get cheated on. We feel vulnerable, stupid, misled. we feel a bunch of things. It's all on him, right? The only thing you can be slightly mad about yourself is that you questioned your judgment when you knew that you were doing nothing wrong. You didn't trust your gut when you were being gaslit for something you knew you weren't doing. So there you can critique, that you can change. Because next time it happens, you're going to trust your gut and you're not going to let someone, it's like, what's the difference between like, you didn't shoplift or like take the money out of the cash register. And if someone accused you of that, you wouldn't wonder like, did I take that money? Like, did I? Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I didn't, but that's what you did in this relationship. You started wondering if you did something you clearly didn't do. You would be like, I didn't fucking do that. I wasn't even by the counter. Like I walked past your mannequin, I stepped in, and I saw that was like, it wasn't my size, and I fucking left. Like, you're insane.
Yeah, exactly.
But yet you spent all this time being like, I don't know, maybe I can teleport. I didn't even realize. Did I black out? Was I drunk? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So I am turning 30 in 2 weeks.
Happy
actually,
birthday.
2 weeks from today. So, I listened to your episode from the actor of 13 going on 30. And that was really insightful about how really trying not to let numbers in society kind of make you feel like shit, But there is still that weight around it for me of like, crap, my life is not where I thought it was going to be when I'm turning 30. Like, how can I really
it's never
go from here?
When you turn 40, it probably won't be what you thought it was going to be either.
Yeah.
When you're 50, 40 is going to feel really young. When you're 70, you'll be like, God, I wish I was 60 again. So,
true.
Yeah, I get it, right? And I understand that as women, the biological clock thing is a real thing. If you haven't had kids yet and you still want kids, and I understand that can be something that can be stressful, and I can't relate. But like, you still are only turning 30, and you can find the love of your life tomorrow, and you could find it 3 years from now, and still have kids, right? And so minus the biological clock thing, yeah, I mean, like, be thankful what you learned from this, right? Instead of beating yourself up about like, oh, I can't believe I trusted this guy, just be like, I'm never going to do that again. And what a weight off my shoulders. Like, you have basically, you now have a weapon in your arsenal. Like, you have this knowledge and the self-awareness to not fall for that shit anymore. And that's that's a great feeling. It's such a great feeling to learn something and then to apply it later on. It's going to be, you're going to get such a rush next time you date someone who like tries to gaslight you, and you're just like, nah, no, no. And it's going to feel very powerful, and that's great, right? So, you just apply what you learn, and you're turning 30, and that's awesome. And just go out there and keep smiling and being positive about the things that you're and just do your thing, And the more times you talk about what you are proud of yourself of to people around you, the more attractive you're going to be to people. Have your group of friends that you vent to, when you're down, and your mom or your whoever it is, your coworker, but keep that small, right? Don't vent and don't project. Next time you go on a date, don't be like, oh, I was cheated on, like if he asks at some point, sure, but don't lead with it. Make sure they ask, and don't be like, don't gaslight me. And you those are things that you've learned, and that's part of your arsenal. And don't let them know your bag of tricks now, all the knowledge you have. Like, so you have you turning 30 is like great, because you look at all the things that you've learned, and now that you can apply going forward, you are far more equipped than you were when you were 22.
So, yeah, it's all about switching the perspective and making sure that I'm not ignoring red flags. And I have talked to a couple guys recently, and there was one that we hit it off really well at first, and he started to get a little spotty and shady with like his texting, and we had scheduled to meet up a couple of times, and then he kind of bailed on me, but then he kept saying, I'm so sorry, you don't deserve this, you're such a great person, I've been wanting to hang out with you.
If a guy says you don't deserve this ever, you just simply say you're right, and then end communication.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much told him, I said, you've been really shady. What's up with that? Because what I expect from my partner or someone that I'm interested in is clear communication and follow through with what you say you're going to do and not leave me hanging.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah. Great. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing,
Yeah.
you know, because when a guy says, oh, you don't deserve this, he wants you to be like, no, it's not you're right. I don't. But like, I understand. Like, I don't know. I understand whatever it is he wants you to understand. And he wants you to like, it's just a nice, it's like a manipulative way to be like, but you don't deserve this, but can you please keep putting up with it? That's what they're asking when they say you don't deserve this. What they're really saying is, please keep putting up with my bullshit.
Yeah. And I don't have to.
So anytime a guy says you don't deserve this, immediately just say you're right and then end the conversation. And you're right. Like what will most likely happen is most of the time they will leave because, you know, they're just not into you, and that's fine. And maybe it might wake a guy up, but if he does, he needs to really do all the things that you do deserve, and you have to have a very short leash. So, you know, you're learning a lot. This is great. Trust your gut and be thankful about the things that you've learned through these difficult times, because that's all we can really do. And eventually you'll find the right guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Just be patient.
Yeah, it's just...
You know?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's hard to be patient.
It is, but it doesn't do you any good being like, oh, I have what, you know, everyone feels like they're unlucky in love. Or there's something wrong with all of us, and we're just trying to find the right person to put up with our bullshit. So like, that's why it's hard, and that's why it takes time, and it doesn't do you any good feeling sorry for yourself for things that all these other people are going through as well. Right. So just go out there and keep having confidence, and that confidence will help attract the right people. And in the meantime, you're going to have to throw out a lot of trash, you know, but that gets annoying, but like, it's something we all have to do.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Best of luck.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. How's it going?
So good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Jessica, and I'm 34.
How can I help, Jessica?
So I am in a messy situation. So I met a man back in September. The way that we met was like incredibly organic and really coincidental. And I mean, part of these details, like I feel like I'm hanging on to like these have to mean something. Like meeting him has to mean something, and I feel like I'm not being logical about it, just because like
it doesn't mean anything. But continue. So problem.
It does and it doesn't, but like to me it does. So like just the emotional aspect of it. But anyway, so I meet this man in September. Everything is going fantastic. Like we're talking every day. Things are moving pretty quickly. Like we seem very serious about each other. We are having all the right conversations. You know, we really like our lives really align in so many ways. And we have a really, really great few months. And then I go on this like girls trip in December, and I come back and everything has changed.
Okay. Like
he
what?
starts pulling away from me. He starts like the communication. It's daily still, but it's staled. So it's not like I hear from him every day, but it's not anything at the level that it was.
What were the things
like,
that were lining up before you went on your girls trip?
Our lives are very similar. We both have children.
Okay.
Neither of us have been married. Neither of us want more kids. We are both very busy in our careers. We have schedules and, you know, but like respect each other's time. Same morals, same like hardworking attitude, like stuff that's really important to me. So things that I want in a partner going forward, you know, knowing that like dating can be kind of bullshit. And like, neither of us wanted to play games. Neither of us wanted that. We'd come to the conclusion that like, this is really, really good. If at any point it's not working, let's just be honest with each other.
Okay.
That it's not working.
All right.
Okay?
I mean, it's good to have like certain like non-negotiable, like the fact that you don't want kids and have kids and he's on the same page that is a big deal. And that's great to find that there's so many other things that might mean he's not your guy. Right. Because that is good. And then the second note I have on what you just said is like, everyone says they don't like to play games, and you're about to tell me the games he started playing, but go ahead, continue.
I am.
All right.
So I think that like going into the situation, I'm an incredibly upfront, honest, logical person. Like I have ended plenty of like, not plenty, but like anytime I've ever dated somebody, the second for me it doesn't work, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's just cut this off. I'm good. Like, this just isn't vibing for me anymore. We went to Nashville. I get back from Nashville. He had kept my car in his garage while I was gone. And then like, I had to go get it and everything, like the vibe was completely different. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is kind of weird, but maybe he's having an off day. An off day turns into an off week. And then an off week turns into like an off couple weeks. And then I start hearing that like, he's telling his friends that like, oh, we're not really talking anymore. Did you address
like after first 3?
I did. I got I'm busy. I've just been really busy. Nothing happened. I've just been really busy. And I go, I feel like something did happen. You can just be honest with me if something did happen while I was gone.
Okay.
Nope. I've just been really busy. And communication the whole time I was gone was great.
Okay.
Like, talked to me every day, checked in, no big deal. But like the whole month of December, like after I got back, everything had changed. And I was just, hey, I thought we were kind of on the same page with this. I thought this is where we were going. I've met your kids. You haven't met my kids, but I've met your kids. I've met all your friends. I've met some of your family. What's happening here? If we're over, let's just be over. Like, I don't want to do this and drag it on. We can try to still be friends because we have the same friends group, but I mean, we don't have to do this back and forth crap. I don't need to do any of that. Nope. We're good. Then I start hearing from other people that he doesn't need much, that we're not talking, that I'm not really anything anymore. He starts acting like he's surprised when he sees me, but he's like asked me to come somewhere and I show up and he's just like, oh yeah, I didn't know Mel was coming. I'm like, no, you did. Told me to.
Okay. So weird. This is still like, we're still in December?
Yeah, we're still in December. So then like we have.
So he asked you to show up someplace, you showed up and he pretended that you just randomly showed up.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I mean, the rest of my friends were there. So I was just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was miscommunication, but.
What do you mean miscommunication? Did you have a conversation?
I brushed it off.
But it
and
clearly
didn't want to deal with it.
Okay. You avoided the
I did. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
So you avoided the obvious. Okay.
100%.
Right.
Avoided it. I was like, whatever. So January, we have a really good week at the end of December. After New Year's and everything, I finally sit down with him and I'm like, hey, do you want to do this or you don't want to do this? I'm happy to do either thing. You're obviously what I want. I really care about you. Essentially, what the hell is going on? Like, where's your head at in this? Why are we doing this? What is the point? He comes back to me with, obviously, I am in love with you and I am terrified. This whole thing scares the shit out of me.
Okay.
He hadn't dated in 4 years. I was the first girl he's ever brought around any of his friends. I'm the first girl that's ever met his children. And he's the same age as I am. We're the same age. And he just goes, it was too good, too fast. And I got scared and ran away. And I said, okay, what do we do now though? Like, do you want to go forward with this? Do you not want to go forward with this? Like, can you get to a place where you're not scared, or what can I do to kind of ease this for you? Or like, I'm just like, I'm helper. I'm a mom. What can I do to fix this? And he just goes, you're what I want. This is what I want. Absolutely 100%. 3 days later, I find out that he's like messaging another girl. Oh, I can't wait to hang out with you. I'm so excited to see you. Like, and it was obviously a lot more than friends. And I was like, well,
how'd you find out he was messaging another girl?
The roommate of the girl sent me screenshots.
Okay.
Because I know her roommate very, very well.
Gotcha. And your
I was like,
your reaction, what? Did you avoid this issue again?
I said, hey, I saw that you'd been talking to this other girlfriend of a girl that works for you. What's going on with that? Oh, that's nothing. Don't worry about it. And I said, all right. Didn't worry about it. Wasn't going to bring it up again. Just was going to let it go because things have just been so good.
Why did you not worry about it?
Because it's easier for me to just avoid things, and I should have just seen it as a red flag, and I didn't want to.
Okay. All right. Continue.
So, anyway. So January goes really, really good until the end of it. We take like a friend's trip. And he'd acted like kind of weird about like, we were traveling like with 2 groups of friends separately. And I assumed I was riding with him and his friends, and he assumed I wasn't. And he like blew it up into this huge thing. And so I finally said, I was like, hey, I can get there on my own. Don't worry about it. I got this. Totally fine. I show up at the bar that we're all meeting at. He comes 2 hours later. Apparently his friends had said, well, where's Mel? What's Mel doing? And he goes, oh, she's probably already over there. Don't worry about it. Pulls in, sees my car, and freaks out. You didn't tell me you were here. What the hell? What's going on? Why didn't you tell me you were here? I was like, you told me to just get over here on my own. Like, I didn't realize this was going to be such a big deal. Acts like kind of an asshole the whole rest of the weekend. Finally, Sunday night when we get back, I just went, hey, I don't love the way that this is handled. I wasn't like super upset, but I just go, I don't love the way this is handled. I think this sucks. Why would you talk to me like that? Why would you act like that in front of our friends? if we're really doing this, how can you do that like in front of our friends publicly? This doesn't make any sense. You know what? I just think that you're way more into this than I am. I think that's been apparent from the beginning. I just don't think that this is going a place that you want. Like, it's not going where you want it to. I don't want it to go that place anymore. I said, okay. I left, didn't fight about it, didn't argue. He didn't want it. I was walking away. Totally fine. Daily communication continues through February, through March.
Wait, why? Wait.
Just kept talking to me. I never started a conversation once.
You kept talking to him. I mean, it doesn't matter.
I did. I responded, but I didn't start a conversation once.
So he's driving.
He's driving.
So that like what makes it better?
I don't think it makes it better. It was just like to me, it was like the interest is still there.
I mean, it makes it worse, to be honest. Like
probably.
You're just like, hey, you have all the power. I don't want any of it. I'll totally respond. I'm here. Just let me know. You want to text? Great. I'll reply. You want to call? Great. You want to reply? You want to hang out? Great. I'll reply. You'll do some shitty things. I'll like kind of get mad. Maybe sometimes, half the time I'll just avoid the conversation because like, I don't know. I'll just pretend it's not a big deal.
This is exactly what I've been doing for
so like
months, so
I mean I don't understand like what. So where are we now?
So in the last, this is so funny, in the last 2 days he has now come around to like having an incredibly vulnerable conversation with me, very long conversation about like the details of like how he feels and what he wants out of this and where we're going, and we just need to take things slow and like move at his pace, but this is what he wants.
Okay. You have to move at
and
his
now
pace
I'm just
now?
to the point where.
So did you say to him, we've been moving at your pace this entire time?
I said, you've always been in control of this. We've always done what you wanted to do. I've pushed a little bit and I will take responsibility for that.
For what? Setting boundaries?
You want.
You haven't pushed at all. He's definitely manipulating you.
Oh, absolutely. It's breadcrumbing, if nothing else.
Yeah,
like,
whatever you want to call it, right? He is accusing you of pushing him for having any expectations whatsoever, for having some boundaries. Mm-hmm. He's not scared. Guys aren't scared. They're not first scared. Like, I'm scared means I want to fuck other people. You know, it's just such a clever way of being like, I'm afraid of committing. Like, I'm scared. It's just like, I don't know, maybe he's scared of not having sex with other women. That's what he's scared about. That's all it is. There's no, I'm scared of what? Like going on a date, like only having sex with one person, getting a girl flowers, like having her saying like, don't like girls' pictures on Instagram that are half naked. You know, what is he scared of? I always think it's hilarious when guys say they're scared and women fall for it.
Do you think do you think it's possible that he's scared? Like the
of what?
breakup with the last girl,
I mean, guys say
horrific.
Okay. Yeah. You got your heart broken. Horrific. Okay. So like, then don't hang out with me.
It's when you say it, it sounds so simple.
It is simple. You're complicating it, or you're allowing him to.
I am. I think that I am. But is it like?
Have you ever gotten your heart broken?
Yeah.
Okay, so when he's scared because he got his heart broken, like, all right, well, stop being. I'm here. I've been scared. I've been hurt before.
Do you think that at this point I can just say, "Hey, this has gotten really, really messy. I don't want to do this anymore. If this is how it's going to be, and there's a chance he's going to turn it around." Or is this so far gone and I've let him manipulate me to the point that like all the respect is gone and I can't salvage it?
Yeah, I really don't think there's much hope for this situation. How can you trust him? Because it just all seems he's kind of covered the gamut. It's like, oh, I'm scared, but I'm texting another girl. It's nothing. He weirdly, in a way, I don't know what you want to call it, but he'll literally ask you to hang out and then act. That's crazy. It's crazy to be like, hey, well, no, we should meet up and I'm going to be here. And then you meet up and he pretends that conversation didn't happen. Or when he says, oh, no, this is what I want. No, there's nothing you can or would do. I'm ready to go. And then changes course and does a 180. That's, people misdiagnose people all the time, but like, that's some crazy shit, and it most likely isn't anything wrong with him. Like, mentally, he's just being immature and manipulative, and you are allowing it. And now he is drunk with power. Even if he might feel bad or whatever, like I don't think he's like in his house like laughing at his friends, like ha, this chick is just at my fingertips and I have all the power. He's not doing that. He probably is just like, oh, I feel bad and she's great and blah. I don't, he doesn't think he's manipulative or whatever, but he's very, very much so. And for all you know, he's taking out his anger on his ex-girlfriend on you. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what would give you, what could he do to make you feel safe and confident?
I mean, I think just consistency. If it got to be back to a place
Sure,
in like
but
the first 2 months of consistency, that's what I want.
So where are we now again?
So now we're just at this point where like he's kind of laid everything out for me. He's given me that vulnerable conversation that I've never gotten from him ever.
I mean,
and now,
no, that's not true. You got it before. You got it before.
He didn't give me an ultimatum, but I feel like I'm to the point now where I have to make a decision of whether I want to go forward with this and try to trust him again or
listen,
not.
if this is something you're going to be eating away at, like, sure, you've wasted this much time. Give him one more shot, I guess. But like, if you do that, that's it. It really is the last shot, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have a very tight leash. You know, any of the things he's done before that is crazy that you've avoided addressing, you have to put that back in the category of fucked up shit I'm not going to put up with.
Right.
And then you walk away. You don't like have another conversation. You just end it cold turkey. You block them. You have to be drastic. Like he's been drastic for all this long. And like you are considering, even though he doesn't deserve it at all, of giving him one more chance because you really want this. It's not because he's done anything different, that he said some magic thing. You want this. You are being stubborn. It's somewhat childish, and it's like you, and that's fine. We've been there. Like we want what we want, and you. So like fine for your own sanity, he's give it one more shot. But like. Okay. Be honest with yourself and have non-negotiables about all the shit he has done that you will no longer put up with. And when he does, there's no conversation to have. There's no like pointing it out. There's no discussion. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that do you think in dating there is a positive to having lower expectations than having higher expectations of your significant other?
What do you mean?
My expectations of him have always been very like, dating me is very
your expectation of him is like me.
My expectation of him is like this is how I've always explained it to him is
I don't know what you've explained. I'm telling you, your expectation is please like me. That's it. That's all you want.
Be honest with me. Don't fuck other girls. That's it.
He hasn't been honest with you. He's definitely fucked other girls. And I'm sure he's definitely lied to you. I'd go to the bank.
I do know that. But going forward, if I give him this one more chance, do I need to add to that list and say, no, I need you to do this, 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 and this?
Well, again, I think what you really should do in this conversation is that, like, I thought about what you said. And to be clear, like, I am not okay with going at your pace. I've been going at your pace for a long time. So if you really want to be with me, then I need you to want to be with me. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? I think I'm being more than reasonable, right? Mm-hmm. Like, don't fuck other girls, don't lie to me, and commit to me and be consistent. Like, don't point out all the shit he did before. And short of him being like, you know what, you're right, I've done all that, I own it, and I want to be with you, I'm ashamed, I whatever, you know, he has to own it all. Mm-hmm. And then maybe consider it. Because he's still going to fuck up and this isn't going to work out. But, you know, for your own sanity, do that. But I'm pretty sure that if you like set some boundaries, if you call him up today, if you get off the phone with me and you call him up and you say, like, I've thought about what you said, or you sit down and talk to him and point the things out you're not willing to put up with or that he's done, he's going to push back. He's going to get defensive. He's going to accuse you of shit. And if he does that, that should be your answer.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So
I think you're right. And I think, and I've told him 1,000 times, because I haven't even so much as talked to another guy since I met him.
Yeah.
Like he's been all I've wanted since I met him. Like that's like, it's so, and that's so unlike.
And honestly, what you like about him, again, kind of like why I asked, is like, yeah, it's great. I know. And I'm sure as a single mom, I'm sure it's hard to find, right? Mm-hmm. Like not only like, you know, there's plenty of guys who will date single moms, tons, millions, thousands.
Oh yeah, that's not the problem.
Yeah, but you don't want kids.
I live in a rural population. Like there's not a lot of options here.
I understand, but that's what you're obsessing over, right? You're obsessing over like one very specific thing that you've deemed hard to find, and you are convinced to fit him into a box of everything else.
You're absolutely right.
So
you're 100% correct.
You know, I'm pretty sure this guy isn't it for you, and there's so many other like. I mean, deal with a guy who's like might want to have kids and you have to deal with it, but he like doesn't do all this other shit. Like
this is so much better than you giving me this advice is so much better than my friends just being like, oh, he's such a dick. Okay, but okay, that doesn't really tell me anything. What do I do?
Well, I mean, you have expectations and you stop like pretending he's great and don't let him manipulate you. Like, trust your gut. Like, stop avoiding things. That's probably the biggest thing is like all these things that bother you, don't ignore them. Don't push them away.
Stop being the cool girl and just ignoring everything that's happening.
You've created this monster. I mean, there's some like he is who he is, and you didn't create him. Well, yeah, I mean, you have added to it. You have to take some responsibility. This is like
absolutely, yeah.
It's been your fault ever since
I've enabled, for sure. I've allowed it to happen.
Yeah. So so that's what I'd do. I would set some hard boundaries. I would point out the things that have bothered you. And short of him just being like, you're absolutely right, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make any excuses, but I do want to be with you, and I'm willing to do this, then you have a very short leash, but most likely he's going to get defensive, point out things, start a fight, accuse you of, expecting too much of him or whatever.
And then it's just cold turkey walk away. The second that happens, it's got to be done.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me now, I would tell you that, but like, you're going to wonder. So you should just prove me right. And then you don't have to wonder anymore.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Best of luck. How's it going?
Hi, my name is Rebecca and I'm 29.
Hi, Rebecca. How can I help?
All right. So I've been chatting with a guy that I met on Bumble, matched on Bumble about a week and a half ago. And conversation's been really good. We've been kind of chatting back and forth. He's really my type. We then moved over to WhatsApp and he's kind of started sending me voice notes. So we've been sending voice notes back and forth kind of every day, basically.
Great.
So like everything's been going pretty well. But there are two kind of things I wanted to talk about. So the first one is, so I live in England. I live in London. Clearly I'm not from there. I'm from Canada. I don't have a lovely British accent, but, and he lives outside of the city. And so he had said kind of like, hey, do you want to meet up? You could come to kind of where he's from. Cause I had mentioned maybe I want to buy a flat soon and the prices are cheaper there and stuff like that. And he was saying I could be your tour guide, but he was also like, I own a place you could stay over, which like, I'm fine with, sex on the first date, things like that. But I also was a bit like, I feel almost like if you go outside of the city, is that kind of like a trap in a sense? Like how, if it doesn't go well, like how do you get back into the city, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if I was just overthinking that or was, or kind of if he was just being nice and did want to give me a tour around kind of the area. And then the second thing is I'm usually the type that like, I don't text back very like right away. I'm busy. I have all that kind of stuff going on in my life, but it feels like it's been very back and forth a lot. And then he was like, let's meet up. And we had made plans. And then at the last minute, he like a couple days before, he was like, oh, sorry, I'm getting my kitchen installed and I have to be there for the weekend. So we can't do that anymore. And then once after he kind of said that, and I was like, okay, maybe we could, and he said, do you want to meet up another day? Then he kind of messaged and said yes, but then didn't message for 2 days straight. And I don't know if I'm, again, just thinking too much into it because we've been chatting so much back and forth. And I'm like, a day, 2 days, what's that? Or if it's now like he's ghosting me. So yeah, that's all of it.
Okay. Have you met him in person?
No, because we were supposed to meet this weekend and then he bailed because of kitchen install.
He magically just popped in?
He said his uncle's a builder and he got like a deal on it like last minute and this is when they're gonna do it. So like it kind of sounds legit, but I also
hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 50-50, like you haven't heard from him. And
so now it's Monday and I haven't heard from him all weekend. And so now I'm just like, shit, are you just ghosting me at this point? And I did kind of like,
but this was the past weekend. Kitchen
when he was
but even in the past when he was working on said kitchen, you'd be sending voice notes and now it's like nothing.
Yeah
I mean, there's a good chance he's just cooled off on you. He matched with someone else on a dating app that like he's a little bit more interested in than you. I don't know.
That's kind of like the bullshit thing, right? Like I feel like it's with dating apps, right? There's just so much out there.
Sure, yeah, but you can't let that discourage you about dating apps. I mean, there are a lot of down things about dating apps. So like I got yesterday on my questions with Nick on Instagram, someone like, how do I meet guys and not on dating apps? You know, and I think my answer was something like, well, I'll give you some options. Like wear a t-shirt that says I'm single and looking to meet people. Have the courage to like walk up to guys you think are cute in public and say hi, or hope that an extroverted guy who you're compatible with, you know, walks up to you in public. But like, it's hard to do, right? And so dating apps give you a ton of access. And even for like people who are shy or introverted, like it's not that hard to like, once you've matched with someone, to be like, oh, this person like likes me, and so now I feel a bit more comfortable to text. And the downside of that is people don't know how to limit their own options on dating apps. And so you talk to one person and you invest in them for a week and a half, and all of a sudden they match with someone else. You're just like, yeah. Does it suck? Let's assume for argument's sake that he's, you know, cooled off on you. He matched with someone else. Well, at least he's not like, actually, I would argue that maybe he's doing the right thing. You know, yeah, you could communicate better, but what is he supposed to say right away? And like, maybe he's not sure, you know, who knows what's going on. Right. But let's just say, you know, he is. Well, I do think people need to get better at limiting their options on dating apps. Like how can you be carrying on 5 different conversations with a bunch of like girls or men that you're interested in? Hard to do. Like you have the right to do that because you're single and you're out there and you're dating, but like, how can you keep track of all of them, you know? Yeah. So like, you know, if you're, and people really have a hard time policing their own actions in a dating app situation. We're all guilty of this. And so, yes, dating apps are messy and you're going to have a lot of situations like this, but you just kind of have to suck it up and deal with it, because the alternative also has its challenges.
Yeah, for sure. Particularly with COVID.
Yeah, right.
Not exactly going out to many bars.
Exactly. Even when you do, there's a lot of people you might be compatible with that like you're just all too shy to say hi to each other, and maybe alcohol's involved and you don't really get a good read on someone's personality. A bunch of reasons. Again, well, we know it can be challenging. So as far as this particular guy, what do? You know, see if he reaches out, maybe throw a note out there, and don't force it, right? You already have like a question of maybe he's cooled off on you, and it's possible.
Basically don't say anything, just let him reach out.
Don't say anything. You can, if by tomorrow you don't hear from him, you can let him know you still exist, but like do the minimum. Just let him know you exist. And just see if the conversation comes up, but don't try to force the conversation. Don't be difficult. Don't be standoffish. Just try, if you can, to be the same person you were before when you had the confidence that he was interested in you, and see if he does the same thing he used to do.
Right.
And if not, then let it go.
Yeah, that sucks because you get invested, right?
You do.
When it's so back and forth, and it's like, okay. Because I do try and limit my options of like,
chalk it up to a fun experience. It still was enjoyable when you had it. Yeah. Right? It was still something to do. And you have no idea whether you would have fallen in love with this guy or not. But right now you're thinking it sucks because he cooled off on you potentially, and you didn't cool off on him, but you have no idea whether, had you met him in person, you could have easily cooled off on him. Right?
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, what do you think about the meeting in person thing where he was like, come to his town, which is kind of like...
I've given this advice to friends of mine. You know, like long distance relationship, it's often guys will be like, yeah, come visit me. You can stay with me, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like it doesn't make him creepy, and yes, but it's safe to bet as a woman, you should assume that like he might be hoping there's sex involved, right? Just like...
Yeah,
that doesn't mean he should get it, right? And I think most guys are respectful and fine. But I think to set boundaries, what you should always do is to pony up a couple $100, whatever it costs, to get your own hotel room, and get your own hotel room, right? And he doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard you say this before.
Yeah, and just do that and hang out with him and just say, listen. It's great, but I'd feel comfortable. And it has nothing to do with you, and just let him know that you have the option to like go to your own room. And the first night, go to your own room and just do that. And let him know, no matter how funny and how charming he is, that you know how to sit, like it's not going to happen. And then like the second night, if you feel more comfortable having fun, then do it. But at least like
set those kind of
you're
boundaries.
You're not a foregone conclusion of she's going to come over and we'll have some drinks and like, we'll just have sex because I'm there.
Yeah. Cause that actually brings up a good point. Like, what do you think about like when you talk to someone on a dating app and they like start like sexting beforehand? Like for me, like I feel like that's gotta be like weird. That's all there.
That's their focus. Yeah, we've talked about that, right? Like if they lead with sexting when you know nothing about each other, then that's a priority for them.
Yeah, fair.
Like sexting's great with someone you're comfortable with, but like right off the bat, it's like, oh, okay. And listen, some relationships, some great relationships start because you're just so goddamn horny for each other. Like that's fine, but other things need to evolve, right?
Yeah.
And just because a guy is super into you doesn't mean he's a total liability. It might be but like it is a red flag. It is something to be mindful of, and it's something to not pretend that that's not a huge priority for him early on. And because he hasn't met you, it's harder for him to get to know some of these other things he might learn if you do. Like it's, dating apps are a visual platform. So the visual aspect of like the attraction is going to be overweighted versus other aspects until you like spend actual time together. And so to some degrees it's normal, but you just, again, have to get better at policing yourself and knowing when other people have a focus and just being aware that's something to pay attention to. The red flags are things to pay attention to, not necessarily reasons to immediately leave a situation.
Totally. I feel like it's, because like for this guy, like, we talked about like, what are you on here for? And like, or, why are you, the classic, like, why are you still single, et cetera, et cetera. And he was saying like, oh, I'm looking for a relationship. Like so many people are on here just looking for sex. And then he did like start sexting a little bit. And I kind of was like, I feel like this is so like mixed signals here, like saying you want this, but then, sexting as well. It's so weird, but sounds like he's confused.
Sure, most people are. Like, listen, like, people often ask, like, why are you good at this, or how do you give relationship advice? And I base all of the people who call on the assumption is like, if your actions don't match your words, then you're most likely lying to yourself. And I'm not talking about like major like things. Like it's, I want to lose weight. Okay, great. And then you're like, hey, do you want to get ice cream later? Again, totally fine. We do this all the time. We do this 100 times a day, but like, it's easy to say you want something and much harder to like follow through with those things. And if you don't follow through, if your actions don't match your words, that means you don't really want it. It's very easy to say. And so that's a small little lie we lie to ourselves. We do this all the time, right? So it's just something to pay attention to. People call in and be like, this is how I feel. This is what I want. And I'm like, no, you don't, because like, this is what's happening. Or this is what they're doing, right? And so in a dating situation, just like, you're right, his actions didn't match his words. Doesn't mean he doesn't want a relationship someday. I'm sure he does. It just means it might not be as big of a priority as he's saying it is to you, right? Yeah. Because like, I don't know, he's just he's a horny guy.
I was gonna say everyone's kind of horny right now because we've all, especially over here in the UK, we've been like locked up for a freaking year. They're like, everyone's like,
so it's just kind of balancing that out and just being aware that someone, their words aren't necessarily matching up with their actions, and that's something to pay attention to. And the more they don't match up, that's more of a concern, And so those are just little nuances of paying attention to, because we do it all the time,
Yeah.
Oh, I really hate my job. I want to get a different career, but they never do anything about it. Like you have to, if you, I'm not happy, but I'm not going to change anything. Well, stuff like that.
Okay. So I'll maybe reach out tomorrow if he hasn't reached out and just send a quick, how's it going message. Otherwise, I'm just going to get back on the dating apps.
Yeah.
Swiping away.
Absolutely. And don't pine over like your lost investment. I mean, what did you really lose? I mean,
Yeah. Just had some nice conversations for a week.
Yeah, great. And that's fun and nice. And, who knows what's going on in his life. Could be an actual valid excuse. And maybe it's not maybe his ex popped into his life and fucked him up a little bit. You have no idea. A million variables. Don't waste time wondering,
And if he does pop back in, do you like don't bother asking what happened, just kind of move on like nothing did? Or
I wouldn't ignore it completely. I wouldn't lead with that. Like, you have to decide whether like what he did was okay or not, or whether it's just worth your time to just move on and forget it. But if you do allow him back in, don't ignore it, but just let it. Maybe he brings it up. You know. Yeah. Again, it's just something to pay attention to.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Can't thank you guys enough for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com. Cast with a K. Subscribe, rate, review, tell your friends. We will see you back on Wednesday with the wonderful Molly Sims.